Come along as we head back to the White House and visit with Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States, and the first African American president, was elected over Senator John McCain of Arizona on November 4th, 2008. Obama, a former senator from Illinois, whose campaign slogan was "Change we can believe in, and yes we can," was subsequently elected to a second term over Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney. A winner of the 2009 Nobel Peace Prize, Obama's presidency was marked by the landmark passage of the Affordable Care Act, or also known as Obamacare, the killing of Osama bin Laden by SEAL Team 6, the Iran nuclear deal, and the legislation of gay marriage by the Supreme Court. Obama's father, whose name also was named Barack Hussein Obama, grew up in a small village of Nazia, Providence, Kenya. As a member of the Lao ethnicity, he won the scholarship to study economics at the University of Hawaii, where he met and married Ann Dunham, a white woman from Wichita, Kansas, whose father had worked on an oil rig during the Great Depression and fought with the U.S. Army in World War II before moving his family to Hawaii in 1959. Barack and Ann's son, Barack Hussein Obama Jr., was born in Honolulu on August 4th, 1961. Did you know? Not only was Obama the first African American president, he was also the first to be born outside the continental U.S. Obama was born in Hawaii in 1961. When I say the continental U.S., I mean like the mainland, the 40 mainland states. Obama's parents later separated, and Barack Sr. went back to Kenya. He would see his son only once before dying in a car accident in 1982. Anne remarried in 1965. She and her new husband, an Indonesian man named Lolo Suharto, moved with her young son to Jakarta in the late 1960s, where Anne worked at the U.S. Embassy. Obama's half-sister, Maya Suharto, I'm just going to say the letters because I don't want to sound any type of way. NG, was born in Jakarta in 1970. At the age of 10, Obama returned to Hawaii to live with his maternal grandparents. He attended the Panyu School, an elite private school where he wrote in his 1995 memoir, Dreams from My Father. He first began to understand the tensions inherent in his mixed racial background. After 2 years at Occidental College in Los Angeles, he transferred to Columbia University in New York City, from which he graduated in 1983 with a degree in political science. He graduated magna cum laude from Harvard Law School in 1991. While at Harvard, he became the first black editor of the prestigious Harvard Law Review. After a 2-year stint working in corporate research at the New York Public Interest Research Group. In New York City, Obama moved to Chicago, where he took a job as a company organizer with a church-based group, the Developing Committees Project. For the next several years, he worked with low-income residents in Chicago's Roseland community and Altagood Gardens public housing development on the city's largest Black South Side. Obama would later call the experience the best education I have ever got, better than anything I got at Harvard Law School, the prestigious institution he entered in 1988. Obama met his future wife, Michelle Lavigne Robinson, a fellow Harvard Law School grad, while working as a summer associate at the Chicago law firm Sidley Austin. He married Michelle Obama at the Trinity United Church of Christ on October 3rd, 1992. Obama went on to teach at the University of Chicago Law School from 1992 to 2003. In 1996, Obama officially launched his own political career, winning election to the Illinois State Senate as Democrat from the South Side neighborhood of Hyde Park. Despite tight Republican control during his years in the state Senate, Obama was able to build support among both Democrats and Republicans in drafting legislation on ethics and healthcare reform. He helped create a state-earned income tax credit that benefited the working poor, promoted subsidies and for early childhood education programs, and worked with law enforcement officials to require the videotaping of interrogations and confessions in all capital cases. Re-elected in 1998 and again in 2002, Obama also ran unsuccessfully in the 2000 Democratic primary for the U.S. House of Representatives seat held by popular four-term incumbent Bobby Rush. As a state senator, Obama notably went on record as an early opponent of President George W. Bush's push to the war with Iraq. During a rally in Chicago's Federal Plaza in October of 2002, he spoke against revolution authorizing the use of force against Iraq. I'm not opposed to all wars. I'm opposed to dumb wars. I know that even a successful war against Iraq will require a U.S. occupation of undetermined length at undetermined cost, with undetermined consequences. When Republican Peter Fitzgerald announced that he would vacate his U.S. Senate seat in 2004 after only one term, Obama decided to run. He won 52% of the votes in the Democratic primary, defeating both multimillionaire businessmen Blair Hull and Illinois Comptroller David Hayes. After his original Republican opponent in the general election, Jack Ryan withdrew from the race. The former presidential candidate, Alan Keyes, stepped in. That July, Obama gave his keynote speech at the 2004 Democratic National Convention in Boston, shouting to national prominences with his eloquent call for unity among red or Republican and the blue or Democratic states. But the relatively unknown young senator in the national spotlight. In November of 2004, Illinois delivered 70% of its vote to Obama versus Keyes' 27%, sending him to Washington as only the third African American elected to the U.S. Senate since Reconstruction. During his tenure, Obama notably focused on issues of nuclear non-proliferation and health threat posed by avian flu. With Republican Senator Tom Corbin of Oklahoma, he created a website that tracks all federal spending. Aimed at rebuilding citizens' trust in the government. He partnered with another Republican, Senator Richard Lugar of Indiana, on a bill that expands efforts to destroy weapons of mass destruction in Eastern Europe and Russia. In August of 2006, Obama traveled to Kenya, where thousands of people lined the street to welcome him. He published his second book, The Audacity of Hope, in October of 2006. On February 10, 2007, Obama formally announced his candidacy for President of the United States. A victory in the Ohio primary made him viable challenger and to the early frontrunner, the former First Lady and current New York Senator Hillary Clinton, whom he outlasted in grueling primary campaign to claim the Democratic nomination in early June of 2008. Obama chose Joseph R. Biden Jr. as his running mate. Biden had been a U.S. Senator from Delaware since 1972 and was a one-time Democratic candidate for president and served as chairman for the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Obama's opponent was longtime Arizona Senator John S. McCain, a Vietnam vet and former prisoner of war who chose Alaska Governor Sarah Palin as his running mate. If elected, Palin would have been the nation's first ever female vice president. As in the primaries, Obama's campaign worked to build support at the grassroots level and used what supporters saw as candidates' natural charisma, unusual life story, and an inspiring message of hope and change to draw impressive crowds to Obama's public appearances, both in the U.S. and on campaign trip abroad. They worked to bring new voters, many of them young or black, both demographics they believe favor Obama, to become involved in the election. A crushing financial crisis and the months leading up to the election shifted the nation's focus to economic issues and both Obama and McCain worked to show they had the best plan for economic improvement. With several weeks remaining, most polls showed Obama as the frontrunner. Sadly, Obama's maternal grandmother, Madeline Dunham, died after battle with cancer on November 3rd, the day before voters went to the polls. She had been a tremendously influential force in her grandson's life and had diligently followed his historic run for office from her home in Honolulu. On November 4th, lines at polling stations around the nation heralded a historic turnout and resulted in a Democratic victory, with Obama capturing some Republican strongholds like Virginia and Indiana and key battleground states like Florida and Ohio that had been won by Republicans in recent elections. Taking the stage in Chicago's Grant Park with his wife, Michelle, and their 2 young daughters, Malaya Obama and Sasha Obama. He acknowledged the historic nature of his win while reflecting on a series of challenges and lay ahead. The road ahead will be long. Our climb will be steep. We may not get there in 1 year or even 1 term. But America, I have never been more hopeful than I am tonight that we will get there. I promise you. We as a people will get there. Barack Obama was sworn in as the first Black president of the United States on January 20th, 2009. Obama's inauguration set an attendance record with 1.8 million people gathering in the cold to witness it. Obama was sworn in by Chief Justice John Roberts Jr. with the same Bible President Abraham Lincoln used for his first inaugural. One of Obama's first acts in office was the signing of the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act of 2009, which he signed just 9 days into office, giving legal protection to the fight for equal pay for women. To address the financial crisis he inherited, he passed a stimulus bill, bailed out the struggling auto industry and Wall Street, and gave working families a tax cut. In foreign policy arena, Obama opened up talks with Cuba, Iran, and Venezuela, and set a withdrawal date for American troops in Iraq. He was recognized with a 2009 Nobel Peace Prize for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomatic and cooperation between peoples, and for his vision of and work for a world without nuclear weapons. On March 23, 2010, Obama signed the Affordable Care Act, popularly known as Universal Health Care or Obamacare. Its goal was to give every American access to affordable health care and require everyone to have health insurance, but then providing coverage for people with pre-existing conditions, a group that was previously often denied coverage, and requiring health insurance companies to spend at least 80% of premiums on providing actual medical service. On May 2, 2011, Osama bin Laden, the mastermind of September 11th attacks, was captured and killed by SEAL Team 6. No Americans were lost in the operation, which gathered evidence about Al Qaeda. In foreign policy arena, Barack Obama was re-elected for a second term in 2012, beating out Republican Mitt Romney and his running mate Paul Ryan. The 2014 midterm elections proved challenging as Republicans gained a majority in the House of Congress. In his second term was marked by several international events. In 2013, Obama came out strongly against the use of chemical weapons on civilians by Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad, avoiding a direct strike on Syria, which al-Assad agreed to accept a Russian proposal that relinquished its chemical weapons. Perhaps the defining moment of his international diplomacy was his work on the Iran nuclear deal, which allowed inspectors into Iran to ensure it was under the pledge limit of enriched uranium in return for lifting economic sanctions. Now, Obama's successor, Donald Trump, withdrew from the deal in 2018. Another defining moment of Obama's presidency came when the Supreme Court legalized gay marriage on June 26, 2015. Obama remarked on the day, "We are big and vast and diverse, a nation of people with different backgrounds and beliefs, different experiences and stories, but bound by our shared ideal that no matter who you are or what you look like, how you start off or how and who you love, America is a place where you can write your own destiny." And with that, I will see you all in the next one.